the next few minutes, and I'm delighted to say that he's back with us on the line. Let's talk to Dave Johnson from the Falcon Blues. Dave, it's good to talk to you.
And you, mate. Yeah, it's been a little while, so good to catch up.
Well, this is it, and I think, it's fair to say, Dave, that Evertonians until recently used to be quite apprehensive on match days, but I get a sense now, possibly not any longer, because Everton on a 7-game unbeaten run heading into tonight's game at Wolves. And I just wanted to sense from you, Dave, as to where you think Everton are right now since the return of David Moyes.
I think we're now in the exact position we should have been for a long, long time. I've said it from the start, Paul, that this team is better than what is being made out, and the last 7 games, the 7 or 8 games, proved that exactly. You look at the difference between how we were playing under Sean Dyche to how we're playing now, and there's not much difference in there's a lot of change in the style, but all we're doing is saying, listen, go and play football. Go and play a game. Just do your job. And that's all they're being asked to do. And they're doing it right. And it's just such a welcome change after all this time.
And do you think the players are enjoying now playing football once again?
Yeah, I think that's what it's been. If you look at, we look at the training sessions and things that are being going on, Moyes has been getting heavily involved in these as well. It always seems like Dyche was very standoffish and let his coaches do it, but not really given a football instruction on what to do, on how to attack, how to, if you lose the ball, what we do to win the ball back and get the ball moving back up the pitch. None of that seems to have been existent in the previous managers in his plans. And then you move it over and over to David Moyes now, and everything just seems to. It's great that it's clicked, and long may it continue. But you just think, where was this 10, 12 games ago? Because, like I said, the players have got the ability. It's just they've not been allowed to showcase it.
And of course, Dave, it's 10 days now since Everton's last competitive game. That was the 1-1 draw at Brentford. And I think it is a sign, isn't it, of how perceptions have changed under Moyes, that a point away from home at Brentford was seen to be a disappointing result in a game that Everton, on another day, possibly could have won it.
Yeah, I definitely think we could have won it. The same applies to the Man United game just a few days before. But it also showed how far we've come. But it also showed the limitations of this side with the squad depth that we've got, with the injuries that we've got. You could see it after the Liverpool game. We went into Crystal Palace and we looked tired, we looked jaded. We looked like we really put ourselves through it against Liverpool. But then, we ground out an excellent result against Crystal Palace, where we come away with 3 points, where you probably wouldn't have thought we'd have done that directly after the derby. So we were riding the crest of a wave a little bit, which was brilliant. And then we've had the Man United game, and that first half of football, I know everyone was saying Man United have been poor. That's the best football I've seen Everton play in maybe the last 5 or 6 years, easily. That's how good we were. And we were just unfortunate again. Fatigue, maybe just putting our foot off the gas a little bit. And we allowed Man United back into it. And then again, as you're saying there, with the draw against Brentford, a draw against Man United at home, you're disappointed in that because of how well we played throughout the first half. We should have been 3-4-5 up at half time and home and host. But then the Brentford game, we knew that was probably going to be the tougher one, being midweek, being, off the back of literally 7 games in the space of a month that we played, 6 in 3 weeks. The Brentford game was just that one. We were all a little bit, was this going to be one game too far for Everton? Brentford probably could have had the win in the first half. Second half, we've come out and we played well, really, really well. Even when we looked tired, and we managed to get a draw out of it with, Jake O'Brien scored a great header and a great equaliser. Probably unlucky not to go and win it at the end. But that, they've come leaps and bounds in the space of the space of a month. It's unbelievable how Everton have turned this around.
Absolutely. And I just want to touch upon the injuries as well, because, as you say, Everton have achieved this success with, I believe, up to 9 first-team players injured. And David Moyes gave fans an update in the pre-match press conference yesterday. He said that Seamus Coleman, Broja and also Chimiti are getting themselves closer to playing again. He said that Seamus Coleman is much nearer, but he wasn't quite sure whether he was ready to be fully involved yet. And in terms of the long-term absentees, the likes of Iliman Ndiaye, Dwight McNeil and also Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Moyes said that he doesn't think any of those three players are close to a return yet. Iliman is doing okay. He isn't running or anything just yet, but he is doing better. And I think really, Dave, there is a sense, isn't there, that how strong this team in the last few weeks could have been with the likes of Iliman Ndiaye, DCL and Mangala. You know, if they were back fully fit, you'd have a team firing on all cylinders.
That's it. I think that's the one thing that's given Evertonians a bit more hope. It's like, okay, well, we haven't had this full strength squad. Well, look what we've done without them. You know, and then that's given us more and more hope. It's like, okay, well, what can we do come end of March, beginning of April with them? You know, we've got a heavy April coming up. And if they're back available, even if they're available to play 30, 40 minutes and come on and substitute role, will make the world of difference to the side that, you know, that has really put it in through all of February.
And one player that we can talk about with some confidence as well is Jake O'Brien. I'm delighted for Jake scoring his debut goal for Everton in that game against Brentford.
Yeah. Again, this is going back to, you know, the old manager's choices and things like that. How he's not even given O'Brien a sniff is just bewildering. You know, he's always talked about being a defensive-minded manager. We were shipping goals. We were losing games. We've had to, you know, and play Ashley Young at right back because we haven't had Patterson, we haven't had Coleman. He's put Jake O'Brien in at right back and he's slotted in absolutely perfectly. He's a colossal footballer. He's absolutely huge. And to have three massive centre halves and Tarkowski, O'Brien and Branthwaite in there, it's like, well, why wouldn't you play it? You know, he's playing out of position, but he's playing absolutely brilliant. And Evertonians are probably pulling their hair out. I know I am. It's like, well, why wasn't he in the squad at any point prior to this? Even if he was, you know, playing in, you know, 2 or 3 games and then, okay, he might come out for a right back or whatever. But he wasn't getting a look in. And he slotted into David Moyes' side as if he's played in the Premier League all his career. Absolutely made up for the lad, and long may it continue.
And I was reading as well, Dave, that I believe under Sean Dyche, just to echo your point there, I believe Jake O'Brien was only used twice as a substitute in 20 Premier League games under Sean Dyche in the Premier League this season. And yet O'Brien has featured in every single game since the return of David Moyes. And that is 7 consecutive Premier League starts. I mean, it's chalk and cheese, isn't it?
Yeah, and it just shows the gulf between the two managers. You know, a lot of people probably didn't want David Moyes in. I was probably one of those people as well because I wanted to be progressing a bit more. But I have to hold my hands up and say, you know, he's changed my mind the way we played the last few weeks, and hopefully that's something that we can continue. But the gulf between the way Sean Dyche plays, the way he handles his players, the way he handles the team, to David Moyes just shows Moyes is just such a better manager than Dyche. And you know, I'm not going to continue to, you know, keep sniping at Dyche. He did a lot for Everton to keep us in the Premier League under the massive circumstances. It was just this time to go. But then we brought in David Moyes, and it's just been like a breath of fresh air throughout the club. The fans can feel it. The club feels it. The players are feeling the difference. And you know, we like I've said in previous calls with you, Paul, I just want an easy season, particularly the last one at Goodison, where I can go to the game with a smile on my face, where I'm looking forward to the football, not going, but I can't be bothered going here. I might get rid of my ticket. I don't want to know. I want to be gone. I don't want to watch the game. Now, I don't want to miss it.
And when you talk about the mindset of a manager, Dave, because one thing that David Moyes said a couple of weeks ago, he said, I don't want to be somebody who comes into a club to save that club from relegation. I want to be a manager who competes for Europe like I have been in the 3 years prior to this. You know, David Moyes has come to Goodison and he's not, in his own words, come to save the club from relegation. He is looking upwards and thinking, okay, Europe is definitely not a possibility this season, but, you know, that's where he is very much setting his sights. And
that's the kind of thing the fans want to hear, isn't it? I don't want to be hearing, oh, well, we might do this, or we might be, I think we're in a relegation scrap, we're going to struggle, this, that and the other, which is how Dyche seemed to handle his press conferences. No one listened to them. Now Moyes come in, okay, sometimes you get managers who will say the right things and blow smoke and everything else, but it almost seems like Moyes does actually care about this club. It's like he's always said that Everton's been part of him. He was there 10 years, he hasn't been here for 12 years, and he's seen the difference between what it was when he left it to what he's come back to. And, just say, no, listen, okay, there's one in his press conference a couple of weeks back, so isn't it great that we're talking about Everton in a positive light? And maybe rather than talking about us being relegation battlers, isn't it great? Why don't we just keep talking about Everton in a positive light? And it's like, that's what I want to hear. Talk about Everton. Talk about Everton as if they are the best team in the world. Because I will. I want my managers to do it. I want the players who play for my club to do it. These are the kind of things that you want to hear, but you want to see a reaction from, actions speak louder than words, as they say.
Absolutely. And because
for what Moyes has done, it's like, well, yeah, I'm saying this, but I'm doing this. You start believing it, and you start believing the hype, and you start getting a bit more confidence in yourself. And that's what Evertonians desperately need at the moment.
And actually, because of everything you say, Dave, the fans now are looking forward to their football. And of course, that continues tonight. Significantly, Everton are unbeaten away from home under David Moyes. So tonight, it is a trip to Wolves, a team who have produced some good results, to be fair, in February. But crucially tonight, Wolves are going to be without Matheus Cunha, their leading goal scorer, suspended for tonight's game. How difficult a game do you think this is going to be for Everton later tonight?
I think if we were playing it straight off the back of Brentford, I'd have said this will be the one that we really struggle in. But, we've had a good break, we've had a good 10 days there, we've done warm weather training over in the UAE, we've been back and we've been in normal training. I think this 10-day break is just what we needed after that heavy February. And we've been desperate for a result against Wolves for a while, especially at Molineux, where we've either drawn or whatever. But Wolves, I like Wolves as a team. I think that they're a strong unit and they can play when they want to. But the good thing is that they haven't been picking up loads of results, and they're still down there just as much as Everton were at the start of the season, or start of January, if you like. So I know it's literally 16th and 17th, but there's a gap. And there's an opportunity to put ourselves, 13 points clear of 17th. And I think we can do that today. That's the impetus. We do that today, we're as good as safe. And Moyes has always said, I'm not talking about anything now until we're actually safe. I think if we get a win today, we're in a strong position to be safe. And that's where we can start pushing on. I'm not worrying about 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th. Every other team below us where we're going to fit, because then, we're 13 points clear of 17th would be, 35 points if we win today, so it would be 17 points clear of the bottom three. That's the impetus. There's your motivation for tonight. And go and win that game, because you can do it.
And it does feel a long time, doesn't it, until kickoff? It's 8 o'clock kickoff tonight. I believe that's the first time Everton have played on a Saturday at 8 o'clock in the Premier League ever. Are you a fan of this 8 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday night?
You know what? If I was going, no. If I'm watching it at home, yeah. Because if you're okay, well, what else is on? It's the Wheel or Ant and Deck or something. I'll watch Everton instead. But this is what the season's going to look like, or the next few years are going to look like. We've seen the weird thing about the World Cup having half-time shows and stuff like that. This is one of the first times that I met the USA, because my brother-in-law is actually over in New York at the moment, and he'll have a Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff. These are the things that the fan looking on from the outside will want: an afternoon kickoff, not an early morning kickoff, not 2 a.m. getting up to watch the match kind of kickoffs. It'll be it's going more to suit them than it is suiting the match going fan. And if it's an 8 o'clock kickoff, yeah, okay, fine. If it was any later, you'd start moaning. But if it was 8 o'clock on a Wednesday, you're still going. You're still going to go to the game. It's just because it's on a weekend doesn't make a difference, really.
Excellent. Well, listen, Dave, it's been really good to talk to you. Again, good to get your thoughts on this Saturday. We'll keep an eye on events at Molyneux later tonight. But Dave, hopefully we'll speak again in the next few weeks.
Yeah, definitely, Paul. Pleasure. Thanks for that.
There you go. That's Dave Johnson from the Falcon Blues talking to us on Liverpool Live this afternoon ahead of tonight's big game for Everton away at Wolves. Liverpool